Yeah.
I think that was
It's probably 3:59 or 59 by now.
It's 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, I got.
should fix
Right.
it.
Now it is.
All right. Call a planning commission meeting order at 4 p.m. Please take the roll.
Mike Schmidt,
Here.
Rod Fleischer.
Here.
Gene Frings,
Here.
Charles Pulse,
Here.
Andy Schumacher,
Here.
and John Gable is absent.
Mayor Bell, present.
And Mayor Bell is present.
All right, approve agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Citizen comments tonight.
Raj, did you second it?
I did. Yep.
No citizen comments? You want to speak when you're up?
I'm not sure if we're supposed to be here or not. But we had a phone call stating that the meeting was taking place tonight, and if we are not going to arrive or be able to make it, we should let the party know. So we're here.
Okay.
So evidently, the discussion is the initial contact we made with the city about a month ago about the possibility of starting some development on Tower Drive.
All right. Well, let's wait 1 second. Let's get the,
Next agenda item.
yes. So, okay, approval of the minutes of March 19, 2024.
Make a motion approved?
I'll second.
All right, Fleischer and second by Frings. Any discussion for corrections, additions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, Mike, now you're up.
Okay, my question is, how far do you want me to go? Start from the beginning?
Sure.
Well, as I'm sure the commission knows, Katie and I own 18 acres of land off of Tower Drive. And we approached the Utilities Commission a month or so ago about the possibility of establishing water and sewer for two of the lots in that parcel of land. And during the discussion, it came up as to what is to be done overall. Well, I guess that depends upon what an overall development of those 18 acres is going to cost. And I look upon it as being almost cost prohibitive when you take and consider sewer, water, road, and the other infrastructure that may have to go along with development of that property. But Katie and I would like to develop the two lots immediately off Tower Drive on the east side, just across from the park. And in order to do that, we need sewer and water. And the discussion at that meeting that took place a month or so ago as to how is the best way to do this. There's a lot of discussion, and obviously no way could we come to any decisive action at that meeting. A lot is still being considered, and I'm not quite sure if the planning commission, if we're here prematurely, or if this is the appropriate time for us to appear before the planning commission.
Well, I think it's already zoned residential on 2 lots, right?
Right,
So we wouldn't really have any jurisdiction. It's already plotted and zoned properly. I mean, if you want to develop it, that's another thing. If you want to get the sewer and water, you
Well,
have to
that's-
someone get the sewer and water.
that's why I asked whether or not this is really the appropriate time to be here.
Right, because it's already zoned properly, right?
Right, it's zoned.
So if you want to get sewer and water, so you'd have to put that in.
Well, there's a lot of debate as to how we go about putting it in. And obviously, we're gonna need approval of the necessary people to decide how to do it and the appropriate way to do it. There are different approaches that one can use to do it. We can go and hook up on the east side down by the golf course, the service road, where there is now sewer.
right on the east side of Bill's property there, the condo
Yeah.
there.
And then, of course, there's water, a hydrant, right next to Carl Bachhuber's property. And is this the appropriate water to hook up to, or the discussion that took place a month or so ago was this would be the time to put a loop in to come off of, High Street south on Tower Drive and hook up again on High Street coming out on the road where Tower Drive connects to High Street. So there's a lot of discussion that took place last month, and as I said just a short while ago, there's no way a decision could be made until further study is done as to what is going to be acceptable to the city and how one approaches to do it.
Right,
Does the sewer and water, do they go down Tower Drive? Are we through Tower Drive?
Sewer does not.
From what I had gathered in a little bit that it does not. But would it not then be the developer or builder's responsibility to put that in?
Well,
Yeah, I think
the problem is to put it there, you obviously have to have a lift,
have to have what?
a lift
this station.
Oh, okay.
station to connect to,
Oh,
High Street.
I think,
Whereas if we go down the hill, gravity takes care of
isn't
the
that a
problem.
force main at the golf course? Isn't that a force main? Going through the golf course?
if it will,
Along the, I got system maps of that. At that point, it's gravity.
Oh, it is.
It's just force me to get it on wide, and then it goes, dumps into gravity sewer. I know the other properties at the end of Tower Lane, they do have bored laterals to that road. That they board across the one parcel to get down that street. Just
the lots are actually platted and they're buildable lots, but the question is the water and sewer.
Right,
Which has to be the
right.
water and sewer commission that answers that question, right?
That's who we met with.
Sewer and water commission, right, or you're gonna have to work something out with development, you know. Honestly, for 2 lots, it probably doesn't pay. You'd have to take all the 18 acres and have that all plotted out, the whole 18 acres to make it pay.
Yeah, I think the water wouldn't be an issue too bad, except for the water department's gonna wanna loop that back into High Street for those
Right.
2 lots for sure.
Yeah,
and That's
that's
gonna be a
correct.
cost.
Otherwise, it's gonna be, it's just gonna be a dead end and you ain't gonna get enough pressure and it's gonna be stagnant water.
Well, part of the discussion that took place at the time with, the Sewer and Water Commission was that this would probably be the appropriate time to put in the loop for the water because of the road that is now there, that's going to probably have to be redone in the near future.
Oh,
So why on High Street? So why put in water now if you're just gonna tear up the road?
right. Right.
If we don't put it in now, tear up the road at a later date, and you know, and we were really here a month or so ago as to get some direction as to what we should be discussing.
Right,
And they obviously have to be a very big player in the decision that's going to be made as to how this is to be done.
right,
So it's not just me come along and put in sewer and water.
right. You know, when you had your property and here's German Street and the golf course is here and your woods line's here and you got your High Street here.
Right.
Well, the plan was that we kept an easement along this golf course when we sold that off. Because the plan, I think we had at the time, we were gonna come off of German, run the road on the outskirts of your property. And then we'd have like some kind of cul-de-sacs in the woods and have lots built off.
Whose idea was that?
Well, at the city, at the time, the city, that's what we thought we would do. That's why we kept the easement.
Right, because Katie and I weren't aware of any of it.
Right.
And you're right, this would be appropriate, something along this line if this is going to be what eventually happens. Well, Katie and I are here prematurely, obviously.
for them two lots, I would, you'd probably be better off trying to get the whole thing sold off to a developer and try to have them subdivide it out and try to work some out with the city on a developer agreement.
Well,
So I'm understanding that our meeting with the water and sewer last month, none of that report came to you guys? Nobody heard anything about it?
I watched the
Well,
meeting
think
online, that's all.
Last month, I'm trying to think, I missed a meeting, I'm on the water
That was
commission.
in-
I missed a meeting, and were you here?
we were here.
We were here, well, I missed that meeting
Yeah.
if you were here, so I don't know what transponded from that.
I was kind of under the impression that tonight was the sewer and water meeting and not the planning commission.
Right, as far as this body's concerned, it's already his own property. Right?
Those two lots are, zoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's cost prohibitive to just do two lots, because
No.
they're gonna wanna loop that water for sure. And if you gravity feed it down below, or east of Bill Mookie's place, that's gonna be pretty costly.
Well, part of the discussion that took place last month was that was the impression to some of the people on the commission that there could be funding available government-wise to put that loop in for the water.
And they would have to go and seek any kind of funding.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But that was a discussion.
So I guess, I think we're saying we're okay with it. So if you're talking to the sewer, to the sewer and water, if they can figure out something here for you guys to do what you wanna do, like, we're good with that. I think, right?
I would agree.
We're
And if it
already-
makes it cost prohibitive.
We're already set.
If it makes sense for you to, whatever the water, commission comes up with a plan for your sewer and water, if it makes dollars and cents to put these
Right.
lots in, we're okay with it. I would be my consensus.
That's great, then we don't have to come back to the planning commission.
No, it's already his own property, it's in two lots.
Right.
Great.
So the people we deal with from here on out is the sewer and water commission.
Right, see how.
And
you wanna
come
fund
up to a workable plan, and if we can work something out, follow through with whatever has to be done. And we need not come again before the planning commission.
Unless
Correct?
Unless you change,
Yeah, unless you're putting,
Unless you wanna-
multifamily or something up
it. Yeah,
there.
unless you wanna do something different.
Yeah, read.
Otherwise, no.
Well, that was part of the discussion that took place with the sewer and water that night. Was the 4-acre lot just immediately south of those two lots. And to try to come up with a plan to include that also. And again, a lot of discussion took place, and we may have to put in a request to rezone that for condominium or something, what we come up with as to what
Is
should
that
be
the one
done.
right before you get to the corner off to the right? Is that the one?
Right,
Yeah. If you want to put condos, then you have to come back here to zone.
right to the planning commission, that we understand. Or if we decide to develop it, we still have to come before the planning commission, because that's not zoned for anything at this point, it's just vacant land.
No, we have it zoned for something.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I think it's all residential.
Yeah. We did that.
Oh, it's not to approve a survey
here, but I guess.
that was,
Yeah.
Any questions? Me?
Looking up to see what it's zoned, I think.
It's probably the one residential or multifamily.
I got single family residential on my map right here, but it's an older map. 2 years old. That whole property is under single family. So if you plan on putting a condo in or whatever, you'd have to bring it back to the planning and zone for rezone.
So go back to the water department, for me and talk to her and say, this is what we want to do. Is it going to be cost effective for us to do this or
And
not?
that's what they're working on now.
Yeah, it's all RA single family.
Okay,
It's a single family,
single family,
the whole corner.
right, so if you wanna do concrete, you're
Right.
back to this home.
I don't want to do anything.
All right, Mike.
Okay, thank you for your time.
All right.
Thanks for
thanks.
coming.
Nice evening.
Guys. You get us started.
All right, discuss the possible action regarding the proposed development of 3 lots located on Hilltop,
So,
in countywide.
so that's the remaining land that Bachmer had. So he's talking about developing the 2 lots on the hilltop, but then the remaining surrounding land too.
The woods, you mean?
Yeah.
So that's the remaining side hill.
Yeah, the woods and
Yeah, darn large area.
And then
Yeah,
one
side-
coming on.
Okay, what is the woods going for?
Yeah.
It's all RA single.
So it's
family.
all single family?
Yeah.
Right.
Why? Why?
Oh, yeah,
But
here,
then,
down here.
Well, you'd have to have a survey then.
You'd have
If
to
you
have
wanted
a parking lot.
something,
Yeah,
Okay, so he's checking on that, so we can be done with that.
Right. Discuss the possible action of options for 105 Bridge Street parcel 251 1216 2314 -021, owner Dan Stevens, currently zone B1 central business.
So I was contacted by Dr. Stevens to add this to the agenda again he was looking for either something in writing regarding the previous discussions we had regarding the first floor and resident permits for that building he's trying to sell. He wasn't able to make the meeting tonight, so he requested to be put on the agenda for next month.
Wanted something in writing saying, because we didn't allow that, did we?
Correct.
Everybody wants something in
But it
writing
sounds-
stating that, he wants to tear down?
Correct. It sounds like he has somebody lined up that wants to put apartments in there, but it's not for that zoning district. There's supposed to be a business underneath
We don't
the
have,
second floor, and
we don't-
there's no first floor apartments allowed there.
right, the whole central business district, we don't have anything for residential on first floors.
No, but I guess the determination, which we had some discussion about, is that the first floor.
Yes.
You have to go up steps when you get in.
I'm under the contention that it's not the first floor. You go up 6 or 7 steps up the first
You
floor.
got a little platform when you first walk in and then you go steps.
So let me ask you
The
this,
first floor is the landing.
Greg the barber, you gotta go up 5 steps to get in.
That's off the street.
That's on the
completely
street,
different.
different.
Every
Yeah.
place on Main Street has steps going. Rita Bush building, every place on Main Street does. That's completely different.
Part of
You go
the
to like a
zoning
raised
district
ranch
requires to-
house.
No, you
Yeah.
have trouble for saying that, but, I don't have any trouble determining that.
What do we do with, the old Backstreet Cafe? They got first floor apartments there.
That's not for the
That-
central business
Yeah,
district.
they got
different zone?
rezoned.
That was
Didn't they get
zoned-
rezoned?
That
For that, I think.
result.
It wasn't part of the central
Yeah.
business district.
There's a few places downtown that are grandfathered in,
Yeah,
but yeah.
but when you walk past the place, it's, that window is more than 6 feet tall that you can't look right in, like, first floor, you'd be able to look right into somebody's house. That's,
Well, you know, when he bought,
we were
when he
going
bought
back
the
and forth.
building, you
Yeah.
know what he was getting when he bought the building, or should have.
All right, I mean, is the question, I mean, is there a question out there, and if there is, then we need this answered, is it the first floor or not? Because if it is the first floor, then it's not okay, if it isn't, it is okay, pretty much cut and dried, so if we're having discussions here, and somehow that needs to be decided on, because that is what makes or breaks that deal for me, I believe here.
Correct.
So, it sounds like there's some people who do think it, and some people who don't think it. I personally don't, I mean, I like Dan, I'd love to help him out, but when you walk into a raised ranch house or like what do they call it? Triangle level
Like, yeah,
You walk in the front door, you go up or you go down. You go down, it's the basement, it's the basement floor, that's what everybody calls it. It might be a finished basement, but it's a basement.
well, when I go my trailer, but I go on the first floor. It's, the whole floor is there, then I go up steps to a different way and steps to downstairs, so it's not like you
And I
go
think,
straight up.
and I think I'm thinking more of a vibe, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean, so there is a question there, like, is it on the main floor or not?
Well, you know, my thoughts are this, if you're going up 6 flights of steps, let's say it's 5 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
typically ceilings are 8 feet tall. So it's from the ceiling down, is that the first floor, or is it from the ceiling and the rafters up, second floor?
How big is the first floor gotta be? I mean, because landing is
His first floor is only landing.
4 or 5 feet,
That's right.
so that could be, I don't know.
Here's my honest opinion. I think you're opening up a can of worms
Yes.
if you allow him to put a first bedroom in there. Now,
Both
honestly,
ways, I think you are, but
here is my opinion. At some point in time, apartments are hard to come by, right?
yeah.
At some point in time, maybe the city would want to look at changing the ordinance, but that's an opening a can of worms. And I think no matter how you decide if that's a first floor or second floor, you're gonna make people very unhappy downtown.
And that was essentially what Nolan had, said when we consulted him. I mean, how are you gonna classify how many steps?
Yeah, but there are no other buildings
But there's no
downtown
other
like that
building
one.
where you
that-
go in the
that size
front
building.
door and
It's kind of like a
you
one and
go
a half.
up steps. Once you're in there.
It's not a one, it's not a one floor, but it's not a two floor, it's a one and a half floor.
But where's the?
That's part of being a 150 or 175-year-old town.
The question then though is, where's the business on the first floor for the second floor apartments?
Right.
And another thing we gotta look at is it was always used as a commercial space, so precedent is that it's a commercial building. I have a commercial space that hasn't been rented out for 2 years downtown. I would love to somehow, I'll throw some steps in that sucker, and then you can walk up 5 stairs, and then we'll walk back down again. I'll figure out a way to do this if it's possible. And you could open up a whole kettle of fish with it,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, here's another one, Udon. Udon's gotta walk up steps to get to his bar.
Yeah,
That could be considered, well, I guess that's not the first floor.
Yeah.
but yeah, the back.
But that's like me doing it off,
Yeah.
off of the street, the enter the front door, Udon's, Bud Martin's.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Whatever.
I don't think it matters, because I'll tell you, because it's all the same district. If it was just Main Street was the own district, that'd be one thing, but we got these side streets that are part of the same district.
And
Is it-
part of these, part of it was, these houses across the street are also in
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the.
that's one thing. about it.
We had that problem here a couple years ago.
So that was part of his argument for
The corner
allowing
one down here.
Mhm.
apartments.
What they currently are, what they are, and they haven't for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time.
I mean, the other thing is, and I'm assuming this is still on there, was always that deed restriction that he put on there. That says it can't be a dentist office. Which, if you can't have a dentist office, it's fully set up to be a dentist office. As a commercial space on a side street, it might not be that, great of a deal. But on the other hand, you could take the restriction off. I mean, I get it, I could see doing it too, but he put that on there, and if that's affecting his ability to sell to somebody else who might wanna, put a business in there, a dentist office for that matter, that's the deal.
Yeah, how long is that place gonna sit up?
Right.
I can't imagine what kind of business you would get in there with steps and then, maybe an insurance company or,
And I
real
think there was,
estate or something, but if you got a customer that's more than 50 years old, no way.
and I think that was part of the discussion too, if you would sell it to another business and they would have to bring it not fully up to code, but I think there was a percentage that they had to spend towards ADA improvements for the business.
So the other thing we could do is, because this body doesn't enforce ordinance. So we always go to the council and say, hey, this is the ordinance. You need to make a determination what you think is considered whatever.
And we just give recommendations.
Right, that's it.
Yeah,
We don't make the ordinance.
In my thought process, it's getting harder and harder to have businesses downtown like that. Backstreet Cafe looks nice. I mean, it's
Yeah.
4 buildings.
Otherwise,
tall.
you're gonna have another empty building in town.
Yes.
Let's face it.
But you are opening up a huge can of worms.
Cause like you said, it is.
Everybody downtown.
So then in theory on Main Street's the same as this
Yeah.
street.
Right. By district, yes.
Right.
So,
I don't
because
see them
down
having,
by the radio station, they wanted to put more in,
Yeah.
return gas down.
And that was even in the back.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't really even
Wouldn't have
affected anything. The storefronts were already taken up.
yeah.
And we didn't allow that.
We don't have to take any action, we can just think about it. Put it on the agenda for next month.
Well, he was asking for some sort of denial, right? I mean,
He was looking to have further discussion, and he wanted something in writing, I think one way or the
Well,
other.
can we just put it to council, and let them have it in writing? Cause it'll be in the minutes. That's writing,
Or the council is just gonna say, here's the order.
yeah. Michael just sent it right back to us. And then he. Yeah.
So you wants a decision either way, or what?
He had requested to be tabled until next month. When I talked to him.
He had requested to be tabled.
I'll make a motion to table till our next meeting, whenever that is.
All right,
I'll second that.
any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Discuss the possible action regarding DOT upgrade to the urban area maps for the city of Mayville and surrounding areas.
So in your packets, you should have some of the original information that was sent over by the DOT. These are the urban area maps that they update every time they do a census. So when they did the census in 2020, this is getting the urban areas around the municipality. This is strictly just kind of classifying the roads in order to divide them between urban and rural funding applications that they have. I know at the last meeting, we had discussed everything and kind of just agreed, the plan commission agreed with the boundary that the DOT had laid out in the magenta or in the yellow on the updated bigger sized maps that you guys have. So they, excuse me. So the DOT did send the revised maps to me. So that's what these larger ones are that I printed out for you guys. I did talk to the DOT regarding Slade Road because there was a question regarding whether it should be classified as urban or rural. DOT did agree with me and your thoughts regarding classifying it as urban. So it looks like they have it where it butts up adjacent to the municipality. They were looking to classify that as urban, and then where it's just in the village of Kikoski that it would remain rural. And then also in your packet, there should be an updated resolution that Nolan had looked this over and he had wanted you guys to view it and review it before sending it on to common council for final approval.
I think it's everything we talked about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All those plans.
Yeah,
We've
what-
had a couple months
we
of
had.
meetings on it, right?
We sell them.
So I would be all in favor of, adopting this resolution unless somebody else has some questions on this, because, they didn't so far.
What problem fix the questions I have now? I'm good.
This would be just a recommendation to common council to consider approval of the resolution.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? The little land we got down in the landfill, that won't have nothing to do with this, will it?
No.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries. The motion to adjourn.
Well, do we want to figure out meetings first, or do we do that afterwards?
What's that?
Do we want to figure out a meeting time, or do we do it after?
Oh, yeah, daytime.
So here's
That on the agenda.
Here's May's calendar. So second, third Tuesday, right?
That's typically when we're having.
So third Tuesday would be the 21st.
And Mike can't make the third Tuesday.
What date is it?
The
The
21st, right?
21st of May.
21st.
Yeah, Mike can't make the third Tuesday, so it would have to be another week.
Oh, that's no problem.
Is there other times you can make it, Mike?
Just the third Tuesdays I can't make it. Third Wednesdays, obviously, is the same thing. I can't make those.
So the 28th would be the day after Memorial Day, which some people are out of town.
Mondays.
Right.
because we moved the committee's meetings to the 20th.
Right. Well, how about the fourth Wednesday of the month? Does that work for everybody?
29th.
That would not work for me.
Okay.
I was thinking
I could do the third one.
What about the 22nd?
I think that's getting close, because then we'd have to get things turned around from plan commission to get it on the common council agenda.
What
Do
about
the
the
third Wednesday,
22nd?
the first Wednesday.
Mike's can't make the Tuesdays or the Tuesday or Wednesday, the third Monday, or Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the third weeks of the month.
Tell you what, Wednesday, if everybody else can't make it any other 10, I'll just cancel what I got on the Wednesday.
And the 22nd?
Yeah,
Good.
Or around to Wednesday, the 22nd.
Okay, planning, we had, what time?
10 PM.
No, it's 4 o'clock work or 5 or whatever. I mean, you probably be more effective than anybody.
I would have been earlier, but I'll do whatever, I guess.
Like 22?
I usually can make it by 4. I'll be all right.
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
All right, 4 o'clock, 22nd.
And that's always, so that's the third Wednesday? That's what are we gonna just always do that now, or are we gonna do this every week?
The 22nd is actually the fourth Wednesday.
So that's the fourth Wednesday?
yeah, yeah.
Is it gonna be north Wednesday? Yeah, because there's a first.
Yeah,
Well,
well, then I've got no problem at all.
Well, there we go.
All right, 4th Wednesday of the month.
And that you can get to common council then? So
Yeah, because we just need to have.
Oh, just
the
the other one of the,
And then next, the following week.
yeah.
All right. We all good?
I'm good. I'm good at that.
All right, is your motion to adjourn? So, your second?
Second.
Motion by Schmidt, second by Frank. Any discussion? All the favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 4:29, or 4:31.